to our Recreation Commission tonight on August 11th. We'll give a few minutes for our public attendees to populate. I can see them starting to pop in. Okay, we've got all four artists.
All right, should we do a roll call?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do the roll call. Let's get rolling.
All right, we have Commissioner Eisen.
Here.
Commissioner Haro.
Here.
And Chair Stamper.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody. This is a special meeting to talk about the Pumpkin Festival commemorative mural. I will provide a little bit of background and then we'll give the artists a chance to present their designs. So just a little bit of background first on the Pumpkin Festival. So many people don't know this, but the Pumpkin Festival is actually organized by a nonprofit group called the Half Moon Bay Beautification Committee, or the Main Street Beautification Committee. They originally formed in 1971 to put on the Pumpkin Festival, which was meant to raise money for beautification of what was apparently a dilapidating Main Street at the time. And give me 1 second. Sorry. All of a sudden, as we start the meeting, my daughter and all of her friends show up. Okay. So they started it to help beautify what was a dilapidating Main Street and just beautify the community. Over time, it has become a huge fundraiser for our local nonprofits, a very big draw for both the community and visitors. And it's really become one of the oldest and biggest festivals in the state of California. Talking about public art, which is what we're talking about tonight, I think is something that our community has valued for a long time. And as a city, we've, over the last couple of years, really tried to embrace and start to initiate more artwork and opportunities for the community to enjoy artwork. And so as the planning for this year's Pumpkin Festival, which is the 50th anniversary of the Pumpkin Festival, as that planning began, we started talking with the Beautification Committee about how we could really commemorate this really incredible event for the community. And so where we landed was that a community mural would be a really great way to celebrate and to share both with our community and people that come to visit Half Moon Bay, this really historic event. And so the first thing we had to do was find a location. And we knew pretty quickly as staff where we wanted it to go. And luckily, a very generous owner of 448 Main Street, which is Cunha's Country Store right in the heart of downtown, offered up his south-facing wall, which overlooks Kelly Street and really the main intersection at downtown Half Moon Bay and Mac Dutra Plaza as the location. And this provides a really large and visible palette to present this mural. If you've been downtown in the last few days, you'll see we've removed kind of a sad tree and done some trimming to a large tree near the corner to make space to put the mural and install the mural, but also to be able to see that wall really clearly. Right. And so we're really grateful to the family that owns Cunha's Country Store for making this possible, and to the Beautification Committee for such a great idea. And so the first thing that happened is our wonderful city council supported the concept and put money in the budget this fiscal year to fund this effort. And in May of this year, we opened a request for qualifications for interested artists. And in total, 17 artists from around the Bay Area and even across the country submitted for consideration. And under that portion of this process, the artists really just focused on sharing other work they had completed, their credentials, and anything that would help us understand their ability to get this project done before the Pumpkin Festival. The other thing we did at that time is we assembled what we call our Community Advisory Committee. And this is a group of folks from Half Moon Bay that represent a different cross-section of industries, cultures, backgrounds, and expertise. It includes people from the Main Street Beautification Committee, including Bev Cunha, who has been a staple and an important figure in the community and in the Pumpkin Festival for many, many years. I believe she was actually involved in the very first Pumpkin Festival, so it's pretty impressive that she's still here and able to help us with this great project. We have a representative from the Coastal Arts League, a representative from the Downtown Businesses, who actually happens to be an art expert as well, a representative from the Chamber, from ALAS, representing our Latinx community, someone from the Half Moon Bay History Association, and then just someone who is a big proponent of the arts, who helps to organize the Make It Main Street event each month and has a vested interest in the arts in our community. And so when we received the 17 submissions from the RFQ, the advisory committee narrowed the list to 4. And those 4 artists were given a stipend and invited to develop a concept for consideration for the mural. And in July, we received those 4 proposals and pieces of artwork, and the advisory committee met and have developed a recommendation. We're not going to share that recommendation yet. We'd like for you to learn and learn from the artists and see the artwork and come to your own conclusion. And then at the end of the meeting, we'll talk about the recommendation from the advisory committee. The purpose of the meeting tonight is for you to hear from the artists, to see the artwork. This is the first time this artwork will be shown publicly, so it's pretty exciting. The city owns the rights to all this artwork. So even if you don't select, you're only going to select one, right. The other 3 will also be displayed in different ways throughout the city and during the event. And they're all beautiful. So we're excited to be able to share them with the community, even though only one will be up on the wall at Cunha's Country Market. Our goal is for that mural to be completed before the Pumpkin Festival this year so that everybody can enjoy it as part of the festivities. And we hope it'll be in place for a decade or 2, and hopefully longer. But we have to understand it's private property, and things will change over time. So with that, I'd like to first ask if you have any clarifying questions, and if not, we'll introduce each of the artists and give them their chance to present on their artwork.
Is the beautification committee not funding any of this?
The city is funding this, and it's our contribution to commemorating this festival and to public art. They fund a lot of other activities downtown, and so the city was comfortable funding this on its own.
Okay. Good.
Any other questions? Okay, so with that, I want to introduce our 4 artists, and this is the order that they will present. The first is Morgan Bricka, and she has done some work for the city before. We have several murals in City Hall and in our City Hall Annex in our conference rooms that she did a few years ago. Really beautiful landscape work, and we're excited to work with her again. The second is Arthur Koch, and he has done a lot of work here on the peninsula, including a very large mural in North Fair Oaks, just south of Redwood City, and has done some other really great murals around the community. Julie Engelman, who is a local artist and has done work both on the, I believe it's the Half Pipe near Surfers Beach and at Harbor Village at the harbor. And then finally, Liv Losi Unger, who I believe hails from Oakland and has done some really incredible work over there. Each has a very different style, very different approach. And I think it's pretty cool, given what we shared with them about what we wanted to see in a mural, where they each took their artistic license to create something really unique and beautiful. And again, we're really excited to have all of this artwork to share with the community. I will share that some of the feedback we gave to them before they started is a reminder that this is a mural that commemorates the 50th Pumpkin Festival. It's not an end-all be-all. It doesn't need to capture everything about the coast side. It's about the Pumpkin Festival. But we did want the artwork to be inclusive, to represent the history of the coast side and the festival and its impact here. And as a side note, the Johnston House Foundation is also celebrating their 50th anniversary this year. They're, of course, responsible for the beautiful work on the Johnston House that sits on the hill south of town. And so we asked them to, if possible, include the Johnston House in the mural as well to commemorate that 50th anniversary as well. So with that, I think we'll turn the time over to our first artist, Morgan Bricka, and I will bring her over now as a panelist and give her the opportunity to share her screen and present to you tonight. Morgan, feel free to turn on your camera and share your screen as you present.
Thanks, Matthew. Hi, I'm Morgan, and I've been painting locally in the Bay Area for 20 years. And like Matthew said, a couple murals in Half Moon Bay. And I had a presentation. Matthew, do I share my screen or do you have the presentation?
I do have it. If you prefer to share it on your own, it's up. I can pull yours up very quickly if you prefer that.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. Only because I only get 10 minutes, so I just want to make sure I get to show them everything. Yeah. And we're getting a little piano concert at the end, right, Matthew? Now that we know you have a piano, I want to hear what you can do.
My household has graced many public meetings during COVID with piano concerts, that is for sure.
So I'll just do the first slide right now, which is I'm licensed as a paint contractor, bonded, insured, been doing it 20 years. 75% of my projects are public or commercial. And then I just realized I need to say next, I guess, Matthew, every time I want to move forward. And it's going to go pretty fast because I just wanted to show you a few things. The first I wanted to show you, I painted this for the city of San Jose. The reason I wanted to share this with you is because 180 feet long. It took me about 3 weeks. I didn't have a deadline at all. But I wanted to point out I'm a super fast painter. And so if there is this tight deadline, you know, I've painted dozens of murals of this scale, so it's not a problem. So, and then I just included some close-ups in the next two files. That's close-up, that's close-up. And then I wanted to show you a few I'd done in Half Moon Bay, in and around Half Moon Bay, of subjects, just so you get an example of my work, because the designs aren't my actual work, right? So if you go into the San Mateo Credit Union, this is a scene I did on their back wall of the pumpkin harvest. And the next one that I did of the tide pools in Half Moon Bay. So that's right on Highway 1. And then the next two slides are of murals I painted for the City Hall, in case you haven't had the chance to see them in person. And this sunset I actually pulled into the design for this Cunha wall. And so then the last one, that is in upstairs, second floor, I did a pumpkin mural there as well. So next slide. When I first started thinking about a mural for this corner, I was thinking it'd be fun to do a really outlandish selfie moment with a huge pumpkin. I considered including the agricultural community, celebrating that, but really the Pumpkin Festival is when everybody comes over and gets involved, and it's very much like a postcard moment for the city. So it felt like maybe this wasn't exactly the right mural. So if you go to the next slide, I started with this because I really liked this design. I think it's beautiful. It's something that looks to me like it's going to be, for a long time, really classy. So I knew I wanted to include this, and I thought this would make a great selfie moment. So you can show the next slide. This was my first design because when I went through, there was a lot of things that were downtown seeds, parade, and our pumpkin way off seeds. But when I look at the pink building with the green trim and the windows and everything going on, I realized that for my eye, a collage mural was way too busy, especially when, and if you go to the next slide, I'll tell you why. there's a lot going on this corner. You have cars that park in front. This slide doesn't show that the handicap space is being open. You have the tree. So from this initial attempt, I realized what I would recommend to the city is a large landscape mural for this corner. You have the wave mural just around the corner, and it makes such a beautiful impact. You all know how amazing it is to see just a big open mural take up those 2 walls. This would be more what I decided to go towards was a complement to that. So if you go to the next, I started again with this, and I thought, how could I really work with this design the best? And that gave me my first idea. And I used paintings I had made of Half Moon Bay in the past, and I imagined in an ideal world, I could paint the building. I'd use real gold, like this would be fabulous. But the problem is, with your short time frame, I don't know if the building can be painted. That's not a sure thing. So I came up with a design that would work with the pink. A pink and a green building with a lot going on is the constraint. And also, as you can see, I really think this selfie moment with the Art and Pumpkin Festival with some pumpkins in the foreground, you're going to see that in every design. I decided that that would be where people might want to take a photo in front of the landscape. All my designs are landscapes. We show the next one. This is the one I thought really worked once I pulled into the sunset colors. So I did a painting of a road, and I really actually liked that because so many people drive over the hill, and it's an underrepresented feature of Half Moon Bay is just that this one and the drive over is so beautiful. But these colors work with the building. The landscape allows me to extend it beyond, so it feels very wide open. And then the next slide, you can see that even with the trees and the cars, it still reads. You can read it easily on that corner. But then I think I did one more. The next one, I decided to include the Johnston House. So this is my final submission. I would move the Art and Pumpkin Festival logo over so it does not fall behind the tree, assuming that the handicap doesn't get as much parking. But I think, and probably beefing up the pumpkins. All of these things are things I tweak on site. I'm a great painter. The design is usually more of a struggle for me. When I get on site, the execution is good, and I orient it to the site to make sure it's mostly viewable, the most visible. So that is what I came up with, and I'm so excited to tell you how I backed into that, so you know how I think about it as a public mural artist, optimizing the site. And I have 3 more minutes, so now you guys can ask questions.
I don't have questions, but I thank you. I really appreciate the understanding and background of it, and it's gorgeous.
And I'll just really quickly share 2 things. One is I just want to make it clear in case it's not the logo that you see there that says 50th Annual Pumpkin Festival. That's the actual logo that the Beautification Committee had commissioned for the festival. So that's kind of, you'll see that throughout all of them.
Is that going to be on the t-shirts, and stuff?
Probably posters. That's their poster. It's all kinds of things.
Yeah.
The other piece is the Q&A will not cut into the artist's time. So the artist can take up to 10 minutes and then Q&A can go as long as it needs to.
Okay. But Morgan, I just want to comment also that, first of all, I love your approach to this. I like the way you thought this through in terms of, in terms of the building itself. I wish you could paint the building because I love that other rendering, honestly. But yes, I love what you did here as far as, as I say, very, I just love the approach and everything you thought through to be able to work with the building and integrate that. So excellent.
Any other questions from commissioners? We'll obviously have a pretty robust discussion about all the artwork once we've heard from all the artists.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for coming tonight and sharing your submissions. And I know you're going to stay on, and we'll catch you around. I'm going to put you back into the audience, and then we'll bring you back at the end if there's any questions for you.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, our next artist is Arthur Koch, and I will promote him to panelist. And I believe he will be sharing his own screen. He's got some website links he's going to share. And there he is. Art, take it away.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay, so my name's Art Koch. I'm a painter, a photographer, and a computer graphic artist. I've been living in San Francisco since 1984. And for the last 6 years, I've been focusing on creating public art and also drone photography and video. I prepared a presentation here. Shall I share my screen?
You should have the ability to do that.
Okay, let me try that. Okay, I could either read this with the text displayed, or I could read my printout and just show the image. Anyway, that is the.
Seeing the image, yes. Please share the image.
Oh, so you'd rather just see the image then? Okay. All right, there's the image. Okay, I'm very excited about the prospect of creating a mural that celebrates the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival. My friends in Half Moon Bay are especially excited about the 50th anniversary because it gives the community a chance to reconnect after COVID isolation. My interest in this project stems from my love of Half Moon Bay, landscape painting, festivals, and agriculture. I have fond memories of bringing my son to harvest pumpkins and visit friends who live there. I like researching the history of the locale and representing milestones in the evolution of the area through its people, industries, local landmarks, music, pastimes, history, arts, and crafts, as well as local flora and fauna. This relates to 2 murals I painted in my neighborhood in San Francisco for the Portla Arts and Beautification Committee, and one I collaborated on in Redwood City. My experience with murals dates back to my college education when I painted a mural and assisted my professor restoring a Thomas Hart Benton mural in the Missouri State Capitol. Benton's regionalist style and the social realism style of the WPA mural artists have greatly influenced my style and approach. I like elevating common tasks in ordinary life to be monumental. And so now I'd like to show you some examples of my public art. Okay, can everybody see that?
It's still sharing the, you might have to unshare and then reshare the new window because it's
Yeah,
still
I see
just
the
showing
Word document.
the picture of the mural that you submitted.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
So if you hit, if you go up to the top where it gives you your sharing options and hit end share, and then restart sharing and select the new window that you, because you clicked the link, I assume.
Okay, I'm stopping the share. And now I'm going to share another screen. Okay.
We can see that a collage of different paintings. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is just my landscape painting. It's not the public art, but so I like to paint landscapes. Usually I paint air. Sometimes I refer to photographs. I paint in oil for the most part, but for murals I paint acrylics. So that gives you just an idea of my style and my painting. And then, all right, so here are examples of my public art. Right at the top is the first mural I painted at Grocery Outlet that represents the neighborhood that I live in, about how it was then and how it is now. It was called Then and Now. And then In 2020, they commissioned me to paint this signature view of downtown San Francisco from our neighborhood. And then I also sometimes paint in an abstract style. I call this coming in from the cold in it's in a gym I was commissioned to paint. And then the Harbor Bay Isle Community Center hired me to paint this signature view of San Francisco from Alameda. I also did this map for them because it was at the community center and people, wanted to know how to get around. I was commissioned by Redwood City to paint these metal bicycle racks with enamel paint. And then I painted this mural at the Salesforce Transit Center to represent dynamism. And this is the one that I collaborated with Jose Castro in North Fair Oaks. I painted most of the left side here. He painted most of the right side, but we both painted. It was his design. It was chosen by the committee, but they asked me to help him out because he didn't have any mural experience. So we painted that one together. And then I think that's a good sampling. This was the concept art for the mural I painted on for the Portola, but the format changed because the wall they chose changed. So it used to be a lot longer like that. And then this was a series I painted for Muni that was displayed on panels inside the bus. So I think we've seen enough of that, don't you? So I will move on to my statement. I'll go ahead and share the mural again while I'm reading my statement. Okay, so as a landscape painter, I wanted to incorporate the beautiful Half Moon Bay in the distance and the play of fog to create atmospheric perspective. I tried to create a scene that is believable in terms of perspective and chose a high vantage point overlooking the festival to create a sense of depth. I chose the IDS Portuguese Hall as a setting because that's where the pumpkin weigh-offs are and many of the artists' tents. I included a painter to symbolize the artists and a boy with a Portuguese flag on his shirt as a nod to the youth. I noticed people like to stand on the giant pumpkins, so I chose a lady wearing colors of the Mexican flag to represent the substantial Latin community, as it used to be called, Spanish Town. The Portuguese ships in the distance represent the first Portuguese to arrive here from the Azores Islands, where they were starving. Portugal sent supplies and brought them to Half Moon Bay, where they could continue their livelihood as fishermen. In the foreground are indigenous baskets with gourds and squash native to the land to recognize the Ohlone. I would like to paint an Ohlone village on the far mountains. I included a teepee and a field of pumpkins because it's a common sight at the festival. I also included 3 winners that I hope are not recognizable, but can easily be removed. If the logo is too big, I can easily make it smaller, as the original painting doesn't include the logo. So now I'm going to go on to my plan for installation. I'm going to wash the wall with TSP to clean it and etch an adherable surface before priming. I would like to put a slip coat on to smooth the surface. I can certainly paint on the stucco surface, but a slip coat will make for a smoother surface, which will allow for more detail, take less paint to cover, and make it easier to remove graffiti. In order to ensure the mural is done on time, I'm going to need to hire some assistants. I helped a team paint 2 murals at Facebook headquarters last spring. We painted 2 10x40 murals in about 3 weeks, which added together is about the area we need to paint here. We commuted daily from San Francisco to Facebook headquarters in Fremont, which is about the same distance to Half Moon Bay. We gelled as a team, and most of the group expressed an interest in working on another mural together. I'm also volunteering for a nonprofit to paint a mural based on the Ohlone, and the folks there would be interested in helping as well. We are working with an Ohlone scholar to make sure the Ohlone are represented in a way that is acceptable to them. They provided this link to the Santa Cruz Museum of Natural History that confirms the baskets in the foregrounds are indeed Ohlone. I can show you that link later here. I know some artists that have helped me in the past, including one from Half Moon Bay that wants to help. I also have some volunteer help. Many times locals like to pitch in and take some ownership. So now the last part is my plan for maintenance. Because of proper surface preparation, right use of materials, and the Precita Eyes mural paint I'm using, I expect it to last a very long time. Here is an example of a mural. Let me stop this share and share an image of that. Okay, so this is these are the two 10 by 40 murals that we painted at Facebook in about 3 weeks, which is about the same square footage as the mural that I'm proposing. And then and this is the mural that I'm repairing for the San Francisco Recreation and Parks. So it was painted many years ago and didn't last as long as it should have because the surface wasn't prepared well and the paint used was subpar. It's on a basketball court, so it took quite a beating. I filled in the holes, sanded it, and matched the colors. And then I haven't had to repair any of my murals so far, but a few of them have gotten tagged with graffiti. I can usually remove the graffiti in a day or two with Clever Clean and at least 3 coats of anti-graffiti protective coating. Most of my murals have a provision for paying me $50 an hour to remove graffiti, repaint, and maintain a mural. So this mural got tagged with a really big tag within the first year. And I was able to clean most of it off with the Clever Clean. So that's my plan for maintenance. And then lastly, I was told that someone suggested that I remove the T-feed because they don't want recognizable people and the TP may be associated with Farmer John. It's also been suggested to remove the indigenous baskets and to remove the Portuguese ships because it connotates colonialism. I think the real question is, do you want any references to history? I can make changes like this or changes of similar scope if my submission is preferred. And I think it still stands as a strong composition without the baskets in the ship. So I can make changes fairly quickly. I can likewise remove or change the celebrating people if they might seem recognizable to any of you. And so here is that same composition without the ships, the Ohlone baskets, and the teepee. So I probably used up my 10 minutes. So let me know if you have questions or if you want to see any more of the art or that link to the Santa Cruz Natural History Museum with the Ohlone baskets.
Thank you, Art. And yeah, I'll just share the feedback he's referring to just came from our community advisory committee. Mm-hmm. And Art and I did talk, and it sounds like maybe some of the information we were given was incorrect, and those baskets may actually, it sounds like they do represent the Ohlone people, in which case there wouldn't be any concerns about including them. Any questions from commissioners?
All right, I'm just going to make some comments. Maybe there is a question I have, but let me start with my comments. First of all, I'm probably going to end up loving all of them. Okay, so I can just tell you that. I love this too. I really think that it represents our community, and I feel it kind of, has more of that representation of the pumpkin festival, which is the 50-year celebration. I mean, we are celebrating this, so it's like more of a reflection of that. And I like the baskets. I actually like the boats also because it is a part of our history. To me, I don't have issues at all. To me, it's like, let's tell the story, not whitewash it, not change it, let's tell the story of what this town is and how it got started and everything like that.
Agreed.
So I actually like all of that. The question I have is, I would love to see it just like we had Morgan's. I'd love to see it against the building, because I think Morgan, brought up just a really important point, is that, you have to see how it looks within the confines of that whole structure and the whole scene there. I was hoping that all 4 presentations would show us the art against the building, so that we can really get that sense of what it looks like. So that part is a disappointment not to have that. Otherwise, as I say, I really like this. And I love that you're addressing the maintenance, because it's critical. Okay, so I mean, that's I'm glad that your headspace is in there. Yeah, those are my comments.
Can I respond?
Sure.
Yeah, briefly. We'll have a chance for some other comments and response later, but go ahead. All right.
Oh, well, when I met with Victor, he said the mural was 40 feet by 18 feet. So it wasn't going to go above those windows like the other mural that we had.
Okay.
So it's going to have margins on either side, and it's going to be below the windows.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. And I will be glad to work up a comp on the building if you want to see that.
Yeah, okay, great. All right. Excellent.
Any other commissioner questions? Okay, thank you so much, Art. Hopefully you can stick around if there's questions or comments later. At this point, I will move you back to attendee, and we will bring up our next artist, who is, who do we have next? Oh, Julie Engelman. There she is.
Hi, can you guys see me okay?
Yes.
Hi, so I'm Julie. I am based here in Half Moon Bay, and I grew up surfing here in Half Moon Bay and Pacifica, and through surfing, I became really fond of my coastal community, and that's where I did pursue art through that coastal community, and a lot of my artwork and commissions and murals are closely linked to the coast here. I've worked on numerous murals and projects, such as the Half Moon Bay Jetty skate ramp that you can see when you're driving on Highway 1, the back of Soul Grind Coffee Roasters, this year's Fog Fest for NorCal Surf Shop, and the iconic Mavericks Powerlines productions. I've also done some non-local work on some bigger projects, such as a mural on the Academy Award building in North Hollywood, and on a 200 square foot award-winning immersive art installation called Human Body, and I helped create paintings for that. So I just want to say that I love Half Moon Bay, and I think it's a really special town with a really unique community culture, and I think it's one that should be preserved. And I think that having projects like this helps preserve that really unique culture that's almost going extinct in this vastly growing San Francisco Bay Area. So thank you for organizing projects like this to help, tie that community culture back to its roots. So I feel very happy and honored to be here with amongst other really talented artists. And thank you for considering my work to potentially be the mural. So upon hearing this assignment, I immediately took several visits to the Half Moon Bay History Association, where I got to interview the manager there, Mary Ruddy, and she really helped guide me and to help keep my design historically accurate. I also took visits to the Half Moon Bay Library, where I checked out a couple books for reference photos and again to keep it historically accurate. And I also met with Chris Lynn of the Coastside Chamber of Commerce, and she was amazing and super helpful and kind. And she brought out all these posters of past the Pumpkin Festival posters of the past. And that really helped, gave me a good direction for how to start the mural. And it was really inspirational seeing the beautiful artwork on all those posters. So with thorough research, I really wanted to illustrate a celebration of the Pumpkin Festival and to illustrate a little bit of the Half Moon Bay history and to just represent the overall culture of Half Moon Bay. So this is my design. Hold on, let me just screen share. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Can you guys see that? Okay, so this is the design, and this is the design on the building. So sorry, the lights turned off. They're motion sensitive. I haven't moved around in a minute. Okay, so the overall look, I wanted to keep warmer tones to this mural to represent the Pumpkins Festival, the Pumpkin Festival season of fall, and to sort of capture the rustic nature of Half Moon Bay. And I also wanted this mural to reflect tones of the past. As you can notice in the woman's clothing, this is more of a vintage style dress, and this older looking pickup over here. And having tones of the past, I thought would further commemorate the 50-year legacy of the Pumpkin Festival and highlight the city's rich history. I included a range of Half Moon Bay agriculture of pumpkins, all down here, artichokes, which this artichoke I made as a border, so it doesn't have like a harsh line down here. It's a very pretty leaf coming up. And corn stalks and Brussels sprouts in the woman's basket. And if I zoom in, I included iconic landmarks of Half Moon Bay, such as the James Johnston House over here, the Pillar Point Air Force Station, or more popularly called the Giant Golf Ball right here, and Pillar Point Harbor to represent the city's notorious fishing culture. I also put fog over here, cascading down the hills in the backdrop to highlight the city's natural beauty. And if we scroll over here, I included sunflowers as sort of a staple flower of Half Moon Bay and sort of an iconic flower of the Pumpkin Festival, which I thoughtfully placed around this pillar curvature structure. So the petals will wrap around this curve really nicely, so people driving down Main Street can see it really well. And I think it would just add a really beautiful flair to the downtown aesthetic, seeing these beautiful flowers up high and wrapping around this curved structure of the building right here. And now for the centerpiece of the mural, I have the infamous pumpkin way off of the Pumpkin Festival. And as for the people, it was really hard to decide how to illustrate the people because there's so many cultures of Half Moon Bay, and Half Moon Bay is a prime example of the American melting pot. So upon the interview I had with Mary at the History Association, I came to learn that so many cultures have been underrepresented throughout history, like the Ohlone Indians, Spanish, Japanese, Latin Americans, Chinese, and so many more. So for this reason, I didn't include any faces because I want the characters to remain ambiguous for whoever is looking at the mural to interpret the artwork, to see themselves and their heritage and their lineage in these people illustrated. And lastly, I included this rustic looking banner, and it states commemorating the 50th anniversary of the Art and Pumpkin Festival, and also the logo over here in the left corner to really keep this mural in line with its assignment. And as for a brief description of the installation, I plan on using bare house paint with a combination of outdoor spray paint, and both of those paints contain UV resistant properties. And I will rent a scissor lift through Sunbelt Rentals. They're a really reliable company. And a GCL insurance policy through Geico. And for the sealant, I'll use a Sherman-Williams anti-graffiti coating. And that coating is great because it doesn't require any sort of really cleaning materials or abrasiveness to scrape off the graffiti. You just kind of need a pressure washer or just a wet cloth, and you can wipe it down, and that'll usually take off the graffiti. And to conclude on a personal note, I do feel really attached to this assignment because I grew up like going to the Pumpkin Festival as a kid with my family, and I have so many memories there. And then later on, when I grew up a bit, I had my own booth at the Pumpkin Festival, which really helped to kickstart my art career and help get my name and art out there. So I feel really honored to be here, and thank you again so much for considering this to be on the mural. Are there any questions?
Yes. All right. So first of all, again, I love it. I right away struck by the color. They just jump out at you, which I do love. I'm a color person, so I really do like that. But having said that, when the first look, as soon as I looked at it, I thought, oh, this is great, but too bad she left out the ocean. And then I realized that golden water is the ocean. And I just wonder about that choice, okay? Because it doesn't come out to me like you included the water portion of things. Otherwise, I love everything else you've included, how the rest of it looks, and the vibrancy, because, we get a lot of overcast days. Being able to see those vibrant colors in that downtown, even when the sun is not shining, is going to be warming to the to people. And I like the way you really, again, it's a great tribute to the 50 years at the Pumpkin Festival. And I love your choice with the faces. I think that's very clever. Very, very clever.
Thank you.
So that people, yes. So there's no like, okay, I see this, but this is me. This is not my. Let it be whatever it is. I like that. That's just great. And then the other question I have is the logo. I'm wondering, I like where it is, but I'm wondering if you would make that bigger, just bigger. There's still more space there that can be filled up with a larger version of the logo. Obviously not too large, but a somewhat larger version of the logo.
Yeah, that would probably be the easiest edit to do on
right.
To just make it a little bit larger.
Right. So great work. And again, great choices. I love it.
Thank you.
My question more is just for you, Matthew. I don't have like specific questions for the artists per se, but I also have like thoughts about each painting, and I've been kind of holding off on sharing them until the end. Is that still like we're still
we really let's if there's just general comments, let's save them to talk about. I have access to each of the pieces. I can bring them up afterwards and you can talk about them individually. So
okay.
Matthew, are you going to be able to bring it up at the end where we actually see all four on the screen? Because that would be really great if we can.
At the same time. I'll work on it. At the same time. I'll work on it.
Okay, good.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah.
All right. Luis, any questions from you? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Julie. Please hang tight. There may be questions for you at the end, and we really appreciate you sharing your artwork with us tonight.
Thank you.
And then our final artist tonight is Liv Losi Unger, and she's being promoted to panelist right now. There she is.
Hi.
And Liv, did you still want me to share the presentation?
Yes, if you don't mind, that'd be great.
Great. Just tell me when you're ready for me to pop it up and I'll do that.
I am ready.
Okay.
All right. So just to start off with, my name is Liv. I work under the name Orlu Arts. I'm from San Francisco, but I live in the Bay Area, and I have been going to the Pumpkin Festival as a little kid for as early as I can remember. Unfortunately, I do have a conflict that will prevent me from getting this mural done in time for the festival. But Matthew said that it might be a good idea just for me to share like my work and my concept, just so that you guys can see who I am and if there are future projects to potentially keep me in mind. I want to go really, really fast and brief so that we can place the vast majority of the focus on the artists who can complete the mural in time. I'll just make this real short and sweet. So this is some of my work. On the left is a big mural I did for the city of Sacramento, and on the right is also Sacramento from Wide Open Walls this year. And then next slide, please. On the left, we have a couple works from last year. This was a school mural for Live Oak School in San Francisco. And on the right was just some personal work of a Sphinx cat, because I absolutely love cats. And now we'll just jump right into the design. So I like to do pieces that are hyper realistic. So my thought was, it looks like it got a little bit squished and weird on the bottom. Apologies for that. But my thoughts for this mural was to go big. When I was little, seeing the pumpkin way off and seeing the gigantic pumpkins in general, which were for the majority of my visits larger than I was a huge focal point of the festival for me and my favorite part. So I wanted to put a gigantic pumpkin on the wall. This is a very, a chiller illustration. As you saw from my previous works, I do specialize in realism. So I wanted to keep Art Deco frame, which matches the logo, and then have the central piece be this hyper realistic pumpkin with all these crazy, wonderful vines and flowers coming out from it as if it's sort of still growing. In each corner of this Art Deco frame that I put together, I put a landscape that meant something to me and that was also an important part of Half Moons Bay's incredible natural beauty, which is the thing that I associate with it the most. So on top left, we have a shot from Purísima Creek Redwoods Preserve. On the right is Pigeon Point. Bottom left is that famous coastline. And then on bottom right is the festival logo. So if you want to go to the next slide. This was my visualization. I wanted to keep the majority of the imagery in the center so that it sort of avoided those two trees. And then my thinking was I was going to extend the vines pretty much all over the whole building. But I didn't have accurate, as good measurements as I normally work with. So I just sort of started with these vines that go out on either side, and then would intend to add some more as time goes on. So I really want to keep it super, super quick. I think the other artists deserve the spotlight here. So is there anything else you guys might want to hear from me regarding maintenance or my, my work in general? Or I really don't want to take up too much time since I won't be able to do the mural in time.
Well, I just want to say that it's beautiful. I love the pumpkin. You did a great job on that pumpkin.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I love the blue. The blue is just a gorgeous, gorgeous color, and the way it pops out is beautiful. Yeah, I would definitely recommend putting you on our roster of artists that we would want to approach for potentially future projects.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for coming.
Any other questions from any of the other commissioners? Okay. Thank you so much, Liv.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it.
You just being honest and working with us and understanding how important this is for us, and also just for your willingness to still come tonight, because again, we hope to do lots of public art in the future, and we need some talented artists that are interested. So really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I didn't want to take too much time from the other artists, so I just wanted to speed run it.
Glad you came.
But I'd love to work with you folks in the future. Half Moon Bay means a lot to me in my childhood. So
Great.
thank you.
Okay, so with that, I think the first thing we'd like to do, since we've had a chance to ask questions, is go to public comment. And so first, let's see if there's anybody in the audience that would like to raise their hand. I know there's a few members of the public here. And while we give that opportunity, actually, it looks like maybe only one member of the public, everybody else is staff. Well, that doesn't give me time to try to get all these things on one screen. But at the very least, what I can do is be able to click through them pretty quickly,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah.
So if you just give me a moment, and then maybe we can just individually, commissioners, if you can just maybe share some of your general thoughts one at a time about all the different pieces of artwork. Again, at the end, I'll share with you where our advisory committee landed, but what we'd like is a recommendation. Where we want to land tonight is a recommendation from the commissioners on the piece of artwork to bring to the council for approval next week. So maybe we'll start with Commissioner Haro. General thoughts, opinions about the different pieces of artwork?
Yeah. So first of all, amazing artwork from all three artists. Very, very brilliantly thought through. The one that really stuck with me was.
He keeps us in suspense. You froze, Louis.
Oh, sorry. All right, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, the one that stood out to me the most was the rustic one, the third one, the third artist. And the reason why is, like, you know, being born and raised here in Half Moon Bay, I've seen this city change or town change a lot. What's going on here? Sorry, changed a lot. Growing up, I remember it was all agriculture, very farm town. So that one really stands out to me. I think that's got to be my favorite one so far. Yeah.
Matthew, can you just put that one up? Is that the one with the sunflowers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the one right there. Yep.
Yeah. I can start my comments with that because I kind of had comments about each one. I really loved all of them. And I think this is now the time to, like, sort of say the things that I was wanting to just comment. I loved everything about this one in terms of what was included to represent Half Moon Bay, because I felt like the water, we have water already on the other side. So this was just a little peek at the water, which was plenty for me. And I loved the ball inclusion. And I loved the fact that the pumpkins were really, really front and center. And even though it was being, like, it was cool. I like how it's the being weighed really represents that whole time of year, but it also has the feeling of, like, wild pumpkins around. So there was just a lot that was fantastic about this. My only thoughts about it were, I didn't really feel like the top sign was actually needed, because I love so much the color of the sky, and it's busy enough that I thought it could actually breathe a little bit better with just the sky rather than the words. And that's mainly because we do have the logo that says exactly the Pumpkin Festival stuff. So for me, I felt like I was appreciating the art and I didn't need more words. And I loved also the sunflowers folding around the building here. My only thought about the logo is it definitely is, like, almost a separate piece from the painting. And I didn't know if that mattered or not. But to me, it definitely felt a little separate. And I almost asked this as a question, but then I felt like it was not a good question of if the artist thought about incorporating it within the painting and just felt like it didn't sit well.
I'll just share the original submission had the logo, and on I think it was kind of near these windows here.
Okay.
And the feedback we got from the Community Advisory Committee was kind of like you said, they didn't want it to interrupt the beauty of the artwork.
Yeah.
And so make it stand alone.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the only place that it seemed like if you remove the top part, it could potentially be on the top left, just because there's more open space around there. But I feel a little uncomfortable like dictating how art should be done. So I don't know. That was my feedback on this one. And I also had some thoughts on, I think, the first one. If you're willing to just bring that up really quickly, then I think I just had a little bit of feedback on that one, which I also loved. And I loved the blending with the color scheme. The second one also did this really nicely. The color scheme of the building like went really well with the art. Yeah, there it is. My only thought about this, which I loved, and I also loved that the artist was thinking about how people take pictures with it as a background. I think both, really all three of the pieces of artwork do a nice job of allowing you to take cool photos of yourself and your family. And I think it's important to consider that because it's a really fun part of being a tourist these days is like, how do you create the best Instagram photo with the background? The artist mentioned it. I just want more pumpkins. That was my only feedback. I thought it was gorgeous. I love the color. I love the blend. This one just feels to me like it needs to say pumpkin more big. But otherwise I really like it. And I did struggle a little bit to decide which I liked better. Hearing Luis speaking about the people and his connection to the community from a young child, I'm thinking the inclusion of the people helps kind of ground it in community maybe a little more, whereas this is more just gorgeous appreciation of the landscape. So absolutely. Yeah, I could see that argument it's a good argument too. So
I mean, Hillary, I don't mean to cut you off, but this one is very beautiful as well. I mean, they're all beautiful alone.
Yes, right? I love them all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Same here. But like you said, I would just like to see it involve more pumpkin, since it's a pumpkin festival. But I agree with you. I mean, this one is beautiful. They're all beautiful in my opinion.
Me too. And I like, I like the grounding of the logo in the painting as well. It feels more like it fits in. And I don't really have a strong feeling about whether or not the logo part of me feels like, does the logo really need to be in there? But it sounds like that was decided that it should be. And so given that that's the case, this definitely fits the logo in nicely. It just doesn't have enough pumpkins in my opinion. So.
Yeah, great comments, Hillary. I absolutely agree with you and Luis. And again, this is just a lovely, I really love that. It's a lovely landscape painting. And again, fits so beautifully with the building. I love that whole idea, how it's incorporated so beautifully in the building. Yeah. But I would go I might even say that I like this the most if it wasn't for the fact that we don't have anything in Half Moon Bay yet that represents more of the community. And that's why, let's go back to the third one for a minute, Matthew. That's why I'm leaning more towards this one because we don't and again the colors are just incredible. And it just is more, so it's just we just don't have this. That's the point. And this is to commemorate the pumpkin festival. And so this does such a great job of that. But I also agree with you, Hillary, and with the Morgan, that it's so important to think about, yes, photo opportunities. When it comes to, when it comes to festivals and stuff, everyone's going to want to, take that photo op and, to show that they're here at the Half Moon Bay Pumpkin Festival. But again, this is going to be pretty gorgeous to do that as well. I do think though, and I agree about that logo, which is why I suggested also that to make it bigger so that it's more a part of it rather than feel like a separate aspect of the mural. So, and let's go back to the. Let's go back.
Can I just say one thing though?
Yes.
I will say that in terms of the water, I just because you mentioned the watercolor, I actually love the watercolor in this.
Yeah.
I feel like it works perfectly with the color scheme, and I would not change it. So I know we all have different opinions, but.
No, I understand that too. It does work perfectly. It does blend, and the whole thing. I mean, the sky isn't blue; the sky is yellow.
Right.
It's part of that. The whole sort of color schematic, let's say, of this mural.
Yeah, that works for me.
So I understand that. Yeah, can we just go back just to the second one to art couches and take another look at that.
This one they hit the nail on, they hit the head on the nail on this one. This one is beautiful as well. I mean,
I know.
the IDES hall there, the winners of the pumpkin way off.
I know, it represents us for sure.
I mean, it's everything, right? It's perfect. It's downtown Main Street. It's exactly what it is. People come over here to get pumpkins, big Hispanic, Portuguese community here. I love it. It's great. It flows wonderful. I agree with you as well. I think I would love to see it kind of like a mock-up on the Cunha store just to see what it would look like. I think that, maybe that would help me decide a little better. But I'm stuck between this one and the third one, which was...
And the third one, yeah.
Yeah. Those are the two that I'm like leaning more towards on.
Because of the representation of everything that is Half Moon Bay.
And the Pumpkin Festival, absolutely. I'm with you. Yeah.
For me, the color scheme of the last one just is so appealing that between the two of these, that's what does it for me. And weirdly, the thing that I had a little bit of a hard time with on this one, there were two things. One is that it feels like it's not Half Moon Bay to me, because it feels like Half Moon Bay is so hilly, because it's that perspective from above. And so that made me feel a little disconnected from the picture, because I felt like this is not a vantage point that I experience in Half Moon Bay, especially when I'm thinking about being with pumpkins. It's very on the ground coastal. So that might be a personal thing, but that for me was like a little disconnecting.
So the other thing, Matthew, can you go back to the third one again? I'm sorry, we're going to be jumping around just to get it back. The other thing I absolutely love about this one is the sunflowers and where they're positioned on this building. So it enhances the building. Okay. Yes. It's not just about, it actually enhances the building. And I agree with the artist also. The other side, I love all the fronds there and the artichoke thing. And it's really beautiful.
And you're on the ground with the people with the pumpkins.
Yeah.
And that is like, to me, it feels like, I know what it feels like to be with those pumpkins in the pumpkin patches in Half Moon Bay.
And the other thing is
on the ground.
This one does have the Johnston House, which I do think is an important addition, given that it's celebrating that 50-year history. So it brings it all together. Okay, so I'm going to finally, I love all of them. So just if the artists are listening, you've done an incredible job. Yeah. I just love them all. But I think my vote I'm going to cast for that one, number 3, with the wildflowers. With the sunflowers. Yeah.
And Matthew, are you wanting us to just like cast definitive votes on these? Because,
I think we're making a recommendation to the city council for our.
Yeah, that's the thing. I know Luis made the comment that if he could see this one here from Mr. Koch on the, presented, mocked up on the
Yeah.
store, that would help.
It would definitely help.
Unfortunately, we have a council meeting on Tuesday night.
Okay.
That's not going to be possible before then. Certainly, the council is going to see all of the murals as well, but we will bring the recommendation forward because of the timing and the fact that we've got to get this moving forward. So it'd be great if you could share a definitive, vote on this. Of course, the comments will be shared with the council on Tuesday night.
Okay. So you want us to pick one? I feel like it's very hard to pick one.
If you can.
It's always hard, but that's why we're here.
I'm just gonna kind of slowly work my way through all three of these over the next few minutes as you guys think through it. Okay.
Well, if you need a vote, I got you. I'm voting for number 3.
Okay, that's this one here. So we've got 2 votes for that.
I think that I will vote for number 3 as well.
Okay, so I think I'm just going to make a motion.
And before you do that, I'm going to share.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. You still have to tell us what the advisory committee.
As I mentioned at the beginning, we had a community advisory committee, which is great because that means we've had like 10 people weigh in on recommendations to the council. So of course they considered this one from Morgan, this one from Mr. Koch, this one from Julie, and then the one from Liv. But ultimately they also landed on Julie's artwork.
Interesting.
Here. Yeah. And so, it just, I think it's a pretty strong statement.
Yes.
I think I shared with others that as we've looked at these with staff just informally, this one really does just pique people's interest, and they talk about the vibrant colors,
right,
and the people and being able to see themselves in it. And so
yes.
What we'll be doing then is let's do your motion, and then I'll talk about next steps.
All right. So I make putting forth a motion that we select number 3, which is from Julie, and that we recommend that particular mural to the City Council.
I will second.
Maggie, can we do a roll call?
Yeah, let's do a roll call. Okay, Commissioner Eisen?
Yes.
Commissioner Haro? Can you unmute and say yes? Thanks.
I got to get used to that. I'm sorry. Yes.
Thank you. And Chair Stamper?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you so much, commissioners. And again, thank you so much for making yourselves available tonight. Again, want to thank all the artists. We're really grateful. Yeah.
And hopefully they can do things for us in the future, because everyone is just super talented and really beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Yeah, I could see artwork from all of these artists throughout Half Moon Bay. And this is something we want to see happen in our community. We want to be known as a place to go and walk and see artwork and murals and take pictures and just be inspired. And I think the one great thing I saw is that Julie is from the community, and I think that helped with her vision. But even those that aren't from our community, they took the time, they investigated, they talked to people. They all had their own connection to Half Moon Bay, which is kind of one of those unique things about Half Moon Bay. It doesn't matter if you're from here or not. It seems like people have been here, they've experienced it, they've fallen in love with it in their own way. And that's come through with all of the artists. And so I just think we've got 4 beautiful pieces that we'll be able to share with the community. And I'll reach out to the artists after the meeting to talk about how we proceed to the council meeting. Hopefully all of them are available to attend. We won't be doing all these presentations, but we're really excited to bring this forward and bring this to the community. And thanks again to the artists, and thanks to you, commissioners. And so next Tuesday night, our city council, I'll be finishing a staff report right now because we got to publish the agenda in the morning. And then we'll take it to the council on Tuesday night. The following Tuesday night, it does go before the Planning Commission because they have to make sure it complies with our sign ordinance. And then we'll be off to the races. In between those 2 meetings, we hope to get agreements in place and be ready to roll. And hopefully everybody can come to the Pumpkin Festival and enjoy this beautiful artwork. So
very excited.
Thanks, everybody.
That's so exciting.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
so grateful to have you here and to participate. Thank you, everybody, and we'll talk to everybody soon. Good
Great.
night.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Recording